Okay, before I get into the losing, first, I mentioned at the end of the Sahara Westgate Challenge series, mini-series, that I'm keeping track of all my failed and successful challenges. Here is where I'm keeping track. Start on the home page to my channel, and then click the arrow on the right to scroll through the headings. You get to the part where you can see About. Click on About, and you get to the information where I am keeping track of all the failed challenges and all the successful challenges. And the most recent one failed that 40 hours at Sahara and Westgate. It was close. February was minus $71. Quite the comeback to get close on the last day I needed to make a few bucks. Had a small losing day, minus 71. So the title left out one condition. It is not my first losing month ever. It is my first losing month of at least 140 hours. There was like 139 and change back in 2015. And yeah, so like 160 is kind of like full-time months. And this paper, by the way, is my script for the day. So didn't mean to put that on camera, but I did. Yeah, I had a 139 and change, so this was the first time over 140, which is actually like full-time hours, that I had a losing month. So not bad considering my first month I ever played live poker in a casino was, what, 2012? And now it's 2023, so not bad, but the streak has come to an end. I'm plenty happy with that result, by the way. There were plenty of moments throughout February where I would have been fine with minus 71. I had my worst losing day ever, minus 1,028. I had 3 other days between minus 400 and minus 500, and still only ended minus 71. What's ironic was I didn't play much, or at all really, under 10 hours, at Westgate and Sahara during the challenge, but it was Westgate and Sahara that kind of brought me back from the dead towards the end and gave me a shot at actually having a winning month. There was a wild game at Sahara the final Friday of February. I made more than a buy-in, and there was a great game at Westgate, I think it was Monday. Despite losing overpair to overpair, despite missing a combo draw, and despite having overcards and an open-ended straight flush draw and going brick, I still made more than a buy-in that day at Westgate. So officially minus $71 and 187.19 hours as a decimal, not 19 minutes, 0.19 hours at the end. So fine with that result, and pretty good hours despite all these terrible things happening. It was 6 hours 41 minutes per day. I did play every single day. The average was 6 hours 41 minutes. So if it were a 30-day month, I actually would have had more than 200 hours, which is my goal, February through November, 200 hours per month. So it wasn't like 2 bad runouts to start the day and I just went back to my room. Like, I put in a good amount of hours and fought back from a pretty negative number to get to only minus 71. So definitely would prefer more money and more hours, but considering what happened throughout February, not a bad result. So January was my worst month ever. It was a losing month. February, losing month also. I haven't had consecutive losing months with no hours requirement. I have not had consecutive losing months since May, June, July 2015. When I first moved here, I killed it for the first 7 weeks and then had 3 losing months. So some stats like that thrown in for you. This is a chair shaped like a bird, by the way. Might look weird, but what I say, you know, more hours smooths your graph. February was awful. I mean, like, there were like 100 hands where like the run out was as bad as possible. Like, you couldn't have rigged the deck any better to make it be as bad for me as possible. And if just like 3 hands went differently, I mean, instead of minus 71, I'd be like plus 1,500, which is not an awful month. Like, keep 97 hands terribly and just make 3 go my way instead of not go my way. Like, that's all it took. So a lot of hours definitely smooths the graph and lowers the volatility. January was a small amount of hours. I got in on the 23rd. I didn't even play on the 23rd. It wasn't a ton of hours, minus 1,600 something. But February, even though it was awful, 187 hours, get some hours in, and break even month, only minus 71. So a lot of hours fixes a lot of problems.
Yeah, I got it at the stadium.